Oh my god, I just realized we didn't have the audio. Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm so sorry for that. Anyway, I was saying that a lot of times stuff is extremely obvious in the aftermath of it. A lot of times you don't realize what's going on while you're inside of a emotional turmoil and bubble. Stuff goes like this. Like, it feels like you're on a roller coaster, and throughout the roller coaster, you don't know where you're going. But once you're done, it's pretty clear that it would have just taken you back where you started. But during the roller coaster, you don't even have the time or the power or the analytical ability to think about, hey, am I doing the right thing? So anyway, I would say let's watch this video. Maybe it's a bit too sensational in the ways that it portrays reality. This guy has sort of things for hyperboles and exaggerations, but that's sort of how the internet works. You have to exaggerate, you have to shout and scream, and you have to be a pathetic person in order to make anything out of it, pretty much. So, Economy 101, what's this? Gold and silver markets. Okay. Gold and silver markets are about to get crazy. 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 Gold and silver markets are about to get crazy, he says. So let's
long-term project to bring manufacturing back to the United States involves a very delicate exercise. On the one hand, he wants to...
Yeah.
Let's talk about cryptocurrency. I suppose your thoughts about cryptocurrency and whether you think they do belong as part of any country's national reserve.
Look, my personal views are not particularly material here. I personally think that the technology on which crypto, Bitcoin, is based is fascinating. But I don't believe in a privatized version of money. I don't believe in what I call the apolitical fantasy, or the fantasy of apolitical...
Well, he was a, political person, so
money that will replace the pound, the yen, the dollar, and the euro, and so on and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. What is happening in the United States is fascinating, because on the one hand, you correctly pointed out that Donald Trump was not a great believer in crypto, but the fact of the matter is that a very large section of his constituency, the MAGA constituency, the people who follow people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, they are libertarians within MAGA, and
there's a huge crypto community within MAGA, and they want to see their bags pumped. They don't necessarily understand what
the
Bitcoin
state,
is.
the loathe, at least ideologically, from an ethical point of view, the Federal Reserve, fiat money, state money. And for them, the idea of apolitical money, that is the kind of digital gold, Bitcoin or Ethereum and so on, is appealing to them. So on the one hand, Trump is very cynical. That is,
Trump doesn't understand any of this. Trump, he says stuff like, yeah, crypto goes up. I don't really know why, but we're gonna stack Bitcoin, we're gonna save up, we're gonna create a treasury, a beautiful treasury, the most beautiful treasury ever. And to give him some credit, he said that the US is not gonna buy anything, any Bitcoin or any stuff like that. I feel like that's just him trying to contain the price, because the moment a player like the US government says that, hey, we're interested in buying a lot of crypto, the price skyrockets, and they are the ones to pay the price for that. So bearish prices are kind of a good way for Trump and the administration to stack up on their Bitcoin, while they create this Federal Reserve and then make it bigger,
bolstering the crypto reserves of his friends who have, within the MAGA movement, invested in it. Let's not forget that him and Melania actually issued their own meme currencies, cryptocurrencies, and they made hundreds of millions of dollars. So he always likes a quick buck, doesn't he? But besides that, Alexis, I think there's a very interesting and very serious aspect to this reserve that he's pushing forward, which has nothing to do with anything of what I said. And if I'm allowed to just explain what that is.
Yeah.
Look, Donald Trump and the very serious thinkers that he's got in his economics team, and I'm saying this as a very harsh and fierce critic of him and his team. So, we need to understand and not to dismiss our opponent as a buffoon. When he may look like a buffoon, walk like a buffoon, but he's not a buffoon when it comes to his economic policy.
Right.
Look, his long-term project to bring manufacturing back to the United States involves a very delicate exercise. On the one hand, he wants to reduce the value of the dollar, the exchange rate between the dollar and the sterling, the euro, and so on. He wants to bring it down in order to make American exports more competitive and imports into the United States more expensive, and therefore shift jobs back to the Midwest, let's say. At the same time, and that's why I'm saying it's delicate, he wants to maintain the hegemony of the dollar.
Right.
So he doesn't want some other currency to replace the exorbitant privilege that the dollar affords anyone who happens to be in the White House. And the way he's okay, so how is this connected to Bitcoin and to the reserve, the strategic reserve? For the dollar to fall, he needs the Chinese, the Japanese, the Brits, and the Europeans primarily to sell many of their dollars, of their hoarded bucks, greenbacks. But he doesn't want them to buy the Chinese currency. He doesn't want them to buy the euro. He doesn't want them to buy the British pound, because that would defeat the purpose. So if he can create a flow of capital from the American dollar to a melange of cryptocurrencies, and especially if these cryptocurrencies are backstopped through some kind of stable coin, as it's called, the currency board.
Oh my God. I mean, this sounds eerily like the kind of instruments that caused the financial crash of 2008. That's kind of what it sounds like. Like, we have this very dangerous asset class. We're going to put it all together in a beautiful bucket, a beautiful strategic reserve, and you can just buy pieces of this reserve by selling your dollars. Like, bro, how sustainable is this? I think that, Bitcoin is gold, apparently. But all of the other currencies, like who wants to hold Ethereum or Solana or all of these currencies? I think Ripple is a good one. Ripple, there's a lot of studying to do,
The US dollar, he's achieved his objective. That, I think, is what is really lying at the heart of the thinking behind establishing this strategic reserve.
The strategic reserve is a way to have dollars flow into it. Makes sense.
Where? It's highly possible. There were two moves that have already done that. One was when Wall Street started establishing trading platforms for Bitcoin. In other words, this is the great irony, isn't it? Bitcoin was established as an anti-Wall Street, anti-establishment currency. But however, the great fillip, the great boost in its value came when the establishment embraced it. That already has happened from the perspective of Wall Street. And the second one is the strategic reserve. So anything that increases the demand of anything increases its price and creates speculatory flow of capital into it. So in that sense, you may be right. But on the other hand, because these cryptocurrencies do not reflect any intrinsic value whatsoever, trying to predict their value is like a cat chasing its own tail, because it's like, average opinion trying to imagine what average opinion will be.
Well, that's my point, in the fact that it's not based on any intrinsic value. I mean, if you buy shares in Apple, essentially, you have a bit of that company, and that company consists of hardware, consists of stores, it consists of infrastructure. I'm not quite sure what you get when you have a Bitcoin. I mean, Warren Buffett has compared these cryptocurrencies to a gambling device, almost like what you just described now. Predicting its value becomes a bit of a gamble, and perhaps that's the addictive nature of cryptocurrency.
Well, yes, absolutely. And the fact is that, look, when average opinion is trying to second guess average opinion, anything is possible. The sky's the limit, and you can go all the way down to zero. But what is driving there is an objective demand.
I mean, the same goes for the dollar. If you think about it, I feel like in the past few years we've seen so many occasions in which people got their banks locked. I'm thinking about Kanye. I'm thinking about Andrew Tate. I'm thinking about Trump also. There's a lot of times these funds that get blocked by banks. And now what Doge is trying to do is the same thing but reversed. So the left is now the one that is seeing its money being blocked. That is something that's going on, and I feel like the push for crypto is not going to be necessarily from the right or the left. Both of them have faced this injustice. And so if they can agree on saying that, hey, these kind of platforms allow us to not block anyone's money, and we can actually have democracy, then I think that it's definitely going to be easier. And a lot of money is going to flow into it. And at the end of the day, I feel like Sam Bankman-Fried described Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as these magical boxes in which money goes in, and so it's now worth more, which is a Ponzi scheme. And Ponzi schemes are bad only as long as the people in charge are poor. The moment the Fed runs a Ponzi scheme, the moment Trump runs a Ponzi scheme, it's totally legit. It's not a Ponzi scheme. So a Ponzi scheme in which enough people take part is gonna make a lot of money for a lot of people, and the government will have every and any incentive to keep it running as long as, it doesn't destroy the government.
Demand for crypto. That comes from crime, from terrorists. It comes from friends of mine who have been, like Julian Assange, for instance, who was completely blocked from any access he had to MasterCard, to Visa, and so on.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is a utility in the cryptocurrencies. What I find interesting and potentially lethal for financial stability is the so-called stablecoins. Now, for the benefit of our audience who don't know what they are, just very briefly, if you buy one of those stablecoins, the company that issues it guarantees, or says that it guarantees, the parity between, the dollar and one of those stablecoins. So one stablecoin is $1, and therefore, supposedly it offers you some kind of security, some kind of insurance from fluctuations of this currency. Now, for this to work, that company would have to have somewhere hoarded an equal number of dollars as the stable coins that it issues. Of course, they never do that, and nobody checks them. It's a bit like the gold standard before, 1930. Nobody could have checked whether governments have as much gold as they say they have in order to back gold-backed sterling or dollars and so on. Which means that if people believe that these stable coins are worth their salt, they're worth the guarantee that they are being sold with, then a lot of money is going to flow into them because it gives you a lot more flexibility regarding making payments, receiving payments. But the more people trust that, the greater the incentive of the companies that issue them to fib, to say that they do have the dollars that are necessary to back up those stable coins without having it. And therefore, this, for me, is a clear and present danger for a future financial clash, or crash, I should say.
Okay, so stable coins are going to be essential so that you can convert your dollars into something else. And you know exactly what you're doing. Like, if you buy a Satoshi, you don't know what a Satoshi is worth in dollars. So yeah, I feel like stable coins are definitely one of the main crypto moving parts, one of the most important moving parts in the crypto environment going forward. They're like the adapter between the current fiat money and eventual cryptocurrencies.
Amazing how much of our monetary system has to come down to beliefs. Yanni, before we wrap this up, I want to get your thoughts on what we've been seeing at the moment with the American economy. The tariffs, the uncertainty of the tariffs have all contributed to the American economy suffering. Prices are not coming down. The stock market is suffering. What do you think is going to be the result of what looks like a very time in US markets? Is this an opportunity for the EU group to come together and show its economic might? Is that number one spot going to be filled by China already waiting with what seems to be a much more stable economy than the US at the moment? Where do you see this going?
For many, many years, the stock markets in the United States have been booming. They never had it so good. But at the same time, Main Street, the average blokes and girls out there in the United States suffered. And that's the reason why Donald Trump was reelected. So Donald Trump's prospects, political prospects, will depend not so much on Wall Street, but on whether he manages to boost the economy at the lower end of the social stratum and hierarchy.
Makes a lot of sense.
For him to succeed in doing this, there may have to be a correction in the markets. So seeing the small, and they are small, drops in the stock exchanges, in Nasdaq, in Wall Street, and so on. Well, that's not necessarily a sign that his policies are flailing. The true test will be whether there is going to be any degree of reindustrialization. We already see capital flowing from Germany, from France, from Italy, into the United States. We already see BASF, the great chemical giant, relocating to the United States. That is going to determine whether the new administration's policy works or not. From the perspective of the European Union, the European Union has been stagnating now for 15 years. We've missed out on an industrial revolution. We had zero net investment for 15 years. This is why Germany is deindustrializing. So you're absolutely right, Alexis. This was the time when the European Union should get together and take a long, good look at itself in the mirror, come to the conclusion that we have failed Europe because we have not done anything really to divert liquidity, masses of liquidity. Don't forget that, the European Central Bank printed more than 6,000 billion euros, and almost none of that went into investment. And do something about it. Instead, we have rearm Europe, and we have another program of smoke and mirrors, the one that was announced by the president of the European Commission. And what do I mean by smoke and mirrors? These huge announcements with very impressive numbers that come from Brussels. But the moment you look at them a bit more carefully under the microscope, they dissolve. There's no real money there. Yeah. And Europe, again, I very much fear, is missing an opportunity to turn a crisis into an opportunity.
Yeah.
My trading account was up.
Fuck you. Okay. So, Europe is... I mean, I believe Europe is not so well positioned right now, but I don't know. I'm sort of optimistic, to be honest. But yeah, so Bitcoin is it depends on how many people join the party, pretty much. And right now we're seeing a strong push to incentivize people to go there. I think that for a lot of transactions it makes sense. For a lot of big, huge transactions that need to be transparent. So for the governments, it makes a lot of sense to have a lot of Bitcoin and exchange value in Bitcoin. For the average citizen, Bitcoin is not a transaction enabling asset. It's just a store of value. Okay, anyway, I think we can code now. I'll just check out one thing, which is I would take the chat, which I haven't looked at for so long. Anyway, so here's the chat, and let's pop it up. Okay, awesome. I'll just add, actually I'll just have the chat open out here. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So Facebook is destroying itself with AI. Let's see. I kind of agree
Hello,
with this.
ladies,
but let's
gentlemen,
see.
and everyone in between that, and welcome on into the video. We'll be having sex with robots in the next 10 years, apparently. An article from The Sun, October 1st, 2015.
Okay.
And while that 10-year mark, that decade is on the horizon,
Well, I think that if you limit it to self, that's true. Like jacking off.
we all
I think that by now, I think that if I were to assess, I think that half of the people who have jerked off in the last 3 years have at least encountered AI.
I don't see myself hopping in bed with Siri anytime soon. However, my
Maybe
butt
women
is
too, I don't
sore
know.
from all this AI. I am getting railed. See, I was sitting, chilling,
Maybe women read like AI generated romantic fiction.
perusing the internet for more
I don't
hours
know.
than I should today, and I stumbled across an article regarding Twitter and Facebook and Meta. Meta, you know Meta. Mark
Yeah, Meta's
Zuckerberg's
stupid.
amalgamation of all the various websites he owns that rake in billions of dollars a year, sending all of our data to everyone ever. I could probably look up my own phone number at this point, but you know, that whole website and how it has not a single issue with AI at all. Oh my God, what is this? Amazing photos. Yeah, that really is. That is great. What the hell? How did they get there? You want to stay here with your girlfriend? Are you trying to hypnotize me? There's no problems. What? 13?
I mean, AI is, yeah, it shouldn't be used to generate the content because you make it extremely fake. All that Instagram had to do to maintain its relevance was keep the content real, connect you with real people, and create an AI sort of infrastructure that allows you to communicate with them faster. What I mean by that is, if I DM someone that is kind of famous, they may not, answer. But I think that is something that AI could very promptly do. Another thing that could have been done would have been like, I don't know. I think that it could help make things more transparent, especially in the messaging realm, especially in the messaging from a super famous and big account to smaller accounts of real people that are interested in real stuff.
1,000 videos.
That is all they needed to do. AI generated content is okay for educational stuff, okay maybe for artistic expression, but do you really want to watch AI generated stuff?
Of the Hulk impregnating the Wonder Woman. That's weird. That's not the right universe. They're DC and Marvel. Not important, though. So Mark Zuckerberg recently came out with a statement talking about the fact that he actually wants to start putting more AI on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do. That's absolutely the right thing to do. Just, you have to do it in the right way.
Engagement on its platform.
To
Another
drive
good way of
engagement.
doing that.
Okay. So that is driving engagement by creating a lot of bots that interact with stuff. Sometimes I think that even YouTube and every social media platform just has all of these bots, and they view your stuff so that you feel like your stuff is being viewed and you're happy when you're actually not doing much. And your video is
theory
not
and
being
making it
seen
so there
that
are more
much.
bots than people on your website, and just making a website people give a shit to use. Isn't that a crazy idea? It's like, why? Like, we don't even know if there are going to be people in Venice or AI generating images of them being in Venice. Maybe there's no people in Venice. Maybe it's all AI and Venice isn't a real place. This is literally like the dead internet theory, except it's the dead internet reality, because he just straight up admitted it, that he's going to start making fake Instagram accounts that are able to post fake,
that's crazy.
like, videos. Why? Like, that is not...
Yeah, I mean, he's right. I would say he's very, very right on this. But maybe all of those things should have just been yours to begin with. Like, social media was this new magic wonderland where you could show off anything and everything. But I see that, a lot of, especially Instagram models, that just, their whole business model is just, I'm pretty, so people will follow me. That's gone. If you had an advantage like that, that's absolutely gone. Digital beauty was fake to begin with, but now It doesn't even require the effort to look good. All it takes is a prompt. So, under that kind of circumstance, I think that overall the social media landscape at that point sort of creates a baseline. And to be successful on the internet now, you need to actually be successful or have opinions that are important or interesting or valuable, because anybody can do and hire like hot women to say their point.
I honestly don't think that we need humans on the site. Why don't we just get rid of the whole human part overall?
Yeah.
Let's just make it a social media website where it's just AI talking with AI. Oh, wait, that's Twitter.
Yeah, that's so
See, I feel like Mark is missing the plot here. And, of course, he's a billionaire, so he lost the plot years ago. But he's missing one of the most important aspects that I imagine would come to mind when you think of social media. That first word, social, how are you going to socialize with people if you don't know if the person you're socializing with is actually a computer program? That kills half the point of the site, and if anything, is just going to further confuse people and drive people away from your website.
Absolutely.
Which then you're going to have to be forced to replace that lack of usership, because websites need to make money by having users on them.
I think that the easiest thing to predict right now is that a totally non-AI platform will come out. It's gonna be something like BeReal, but instead of pictures, it's gonna be short videos. Sort of like diary logs, something like that, something along those lines. And it's gonna be totally AI free. The only website that can live with AI, the only social media that can live with AI is YouTube, I believe. Because if you use AI to create educational content, or B-roll for educational content, that's absolutely legit, that's absolutely valid. Driving up engagement artificially, it's something that you can do, but the user should not know that it's artificious. If I know that my followers are fake, first of all, it takes away the monetary incentive that creators had up until now. Up until now, creators have monetized their platforms and engagement because it was real people with real money, with real free will, and real willingness to buy stuff. But if it's just AI doesn't have a wallet, at least for now. AI can't buy stuff. And the whole social media industry is bursting on itself. Unless you have a clear plan on what you want to make, I think that a lot of Instagram girlies and also like the gym bros, crypto bros, makeup girls, all of this season of social media is gone. It's like the magazine that the dentist has, and you walk into the dentist, and just because you're waiting, you have that magazine, but nobody buys it anymore. That's what social media is going to be like in a couple years, I guess.
And what are they going to do? Like, make more AI until eventually there's no people left using the site? I mean, I guess, if anything, it's a really indirect way of getting everyone to stop using social media, which could inevitably be great for everyone's collective mental health. But at the same time, these sites have to realize they're killing their own website, right? Like, the AIs aren't looking at ads and considering buying things. We are doing that. And if you scare us off the site, who's going to look at your ads? No one!
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, ad conversion is getting awful, I guess.
It's self-destructive. It's self-destructive, completely, like, unconstructive. There's just a lot of destructive going on.
That's what happens when you pursue growth at all costs. That eventually you jump off of a cliff.
And none of it's good, because this is a horrible addition. I was sitting and contemplating for just a hot minute, thinking about the fact that, like, imagine if YouTube were to do this type of change that Meta's trying to put forward. Imagine if YouTube were to inject a bunch of AI YouTubers onto the site with the pure intention of just making the site look like more people use it. That would be detrimental to the entire point of a site dedicated to creators. Now, I know Instagram and Facebook isn't necessarily a site dedicated to content creation. There is Facebook gaming and Instagram content creators.
I mean, content creation is such a huge industry.
But at the same time, Instagram is an even more important case of this being a horrible move because it's dedicated to just people making connections. Most of the people I follow on Instagram are just people I know in real life. So riddle me this, Zuckerberg. Why in a trillion years would I ever want to follow a random AI account posting about their travel vlog? There's nothing of substance because I didn't actually go there. They're an artificial intelligence machine. Like, I would have to be not only the most bored I've ever been in my entire life, but also lobotomized by a rusty fork and high on LSD to even for a fraction of a second give a shit about an AI cooking video. Because none of it is real.
Really.
Like, there's no heart behind it.
This only happens if you know that it's AI, though. If you don't know that it's AI, you will very, very, like, gladly scroll through Reels. And maybe it will catch your eye even because it's visually engaging. The moment you know that it's AI, though, it loses all of its credibility, interest, and everything else.
There's no substance behind it. If there's anyone consuming that content, if you are one of those people consuming that content, I'm sorry, but please check behind your eyes because there might be nothing there. I'm sorry. That was kind of rude. I mean, if you like AI content, it's more power to or less power to. Stop. Like, even the people who invest in Meta and, like, put their money into this company, they believe that the future...
Yeah, that's me. That's me. And actually, I'm thinking about pulling out.
Is within Mark Zuckerberg's weird blue website
No, it's
are
very
pulling
weird.
out their own investments because of how obsessed he is with AI.
And as a matter of fact,
there was
I
an
think it
article I
went
saw
down.
written by Axios talking about the fact that shares in Meta fell more than 15% late Wednesday. I don't know what
15%.
Wednesday they're talking about, but they dropped 15% due to his obsession with AI. And his response to it was, no, don't worry, guys. No, it's okay, guys. Don't worry, investors. The company plans to invest even more in AI.
Yeah.
What are you smoking? Like, this is actually the most obsessed I've ever seen a person with artificial intelligence, and I use ChatGPT to not do my schoolwork. This is college. Anyway, so they've lost a lot of money already. The 15%, by the way, I don't know the math.
I mean, it really depends on how they plan on using AI. I believe that, the AI content creation part is just a minimum fraction of it. So in terms of stock, this would actually be a good moment to buy, to be honest.
In fact, I'm not a Meta inside trader, but there was an article written by CNN saying that they lost about $183 billion off of their market revenue due to these choices from Mark Zuckerberg. This is a...
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened in 2022. I think the stock fell like over 70% and then it rallied back above its previous all-time highs, like by far above it. So this point is kind of stupid. Like, Facebook is a volatile stock. Meta is a volatile stock. Because it's a volatile company, because all it takes is 10-15% of the active users to walk away and stop using it. Like, I've stopped using... not really. Well, I don't have it on my phone anymore. I sometimes check it, but the whole Meta suite is totally non-interesting at the moment.
Level of gambling that people in the South wish they could match. Like, I went to the South one time and I saw that there's like an extra little gambling room attached to every gas station, kind of like a play room on a McDonald's, except for adults and people who are sad. And it's literally like the people in there are like pressing the button and it goes like lemon, apple. Oh man, lemon, apple. Oh shit, strawberry. I don't give a shit. And it's like Zuckerberg's doing that. He's like, oh, don't worry, guys, don't worry. If I put the AI in this time, if I put in this money to the AI, maybe the AI will do something that people actually want this time. Maybe we don't want more AI. Maybe we've had enough. Maybe I want to look at things online and I want to know that what I'm looking at is a real thing from a real person and not be just sad and confused every single time I peruse your website. Because, like, I don't know. I don't think that Hulk actually did that to Wonder Woman.
I mean, the main losers right now are the investors. The people that used to pay, like, Skillshare, buy Skillshare, sign up to Skillshare, rate Shadow Legends. Those are the kind of people that are losing the most money from this. The users will eventually find a new hub. If you hate Facebook so much as this guy, just stop using it. Oh, come on. Come on. Why? Like, you see, this ad has no conversion. Ads have already gone down strongly. I've never bought anything that was sponsored to me. Or maybe like I did a few times, but I could count that on the fingers of one hand. So, I don't know.
As I was saying, Mr. Zuckerbuckle is absolutely obsessed with artificial intelligence to the point that it's intertwined.
But I think that the way that he uses AI, once again, the way that these people intend on using AI is not just generating content and engagement. That is definitely one of the parts, but for one, they can get rid of half of their employees and call it a day. And that's a huge cost saving. And they can stop renting out places, that saves costs. I think that the main thing is creating a social platform that is more efficient. And at that point, you can I think that eventually AI will be used. It's being used mainly in the recommendation for content. I think that if the owners of these platforms eventually, inevitably decide that, you know what, the user should be able to not just influence the content and the algorithm with his behavior, but also just by telling us, by stating what he wants to learn and know. I think that eventually social media can be the best assistant and the most interesting discovery platform.
Ingrained into every single aspect of everything you do on Instagram. Like, if you go onto Instagram and if you have the app and try to just search something up really quickly, my capture card was obliterated, but I just pretend with me here. I tap on something and it asks me, ask an AI, how to solve a Rubik's Cube, how to be good at trivia. No, I'm trying to look up my friend's account. If I want to do that, I go to Google.
Yeah, Google is...
Instagram and Meta want to be more than they are, and it is...
Google search is facing competition from everywhere. I think that eventually YouTube is Google's most proficient product.
Step another lane. And it's embarrassing because they're just ruining their website. It's like the guy who tries to be a jack of all trades and ends up just being a master of none. It's really, really sad, especially when they're trying to invest so much into chatbots, when chatbots are one of the saddest concepts I've ever heard of in my life. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, they're funny, but then they get sad when you hear about the things that people are doing with them. Like how, that movie, Her? Don't marry an AI. Don't do that. There was actually an article I saw about a guy who married an AI, and then there was a...
He looks exactly like the kind of guy that marries an AI. Not gonna lie.
Software reset, and she forgot who he was. Because she's a computer! Like, you can't date that. But of course, Meta, being completely out of touch with realities, put their hand into this shit-soaked ring and have a bunch of different character AIs you can play as. Like My Girlfriend. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of very, very edging the...
An app that stole your data, that had a talking cat, something talking cat. This is the same.
You play
thing.
As
steals your data and is a talking animal.
My Girlfriend. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of very, very edging the line of copyright infringement characters. Yeah. I like this one. Obsessed golf enthusiast. Oh, look who can't say Tiger Woods. Or I saw there were some other ones that are pretty wild. Castiel from Supernatural. They just straight up stole his name there. Princess Peach. Oh,
wow.
Nintendo, strike Meta down and my soul is yours. Oh my god, please. Dude, there is no one who cares more about copyright infringement than Nintendo. I'm pretty sure even having the word Peach here.
I think that, IP intellectual property is not going to be nearly as valuable as it was.
Investing in AI. In fact, I want to see a Mario character by next week. I feel Nintendo will love the inclusion in your company. And you can trust me. You can take my advice because you're sure as shit not taking anyone else's. All of this is just absolutely so absurd. It blows my mind how many people are investing so heavily into artificial intelligence despite it literally ruining every single thing it touches.
Yeah. I think that's right. It's been net negative for now. It hasn't made anything better. It only has made stuff more soulless and cheaper, but not better. I think that 3 years ago when ChatGPT came out, the idea for AI was different. We thought it would be different. We thought everything that was going to come out of it was strongly and starkly different from what we found it out to be. But that's simply because, and we will be coding this sooner or later, but we don't actually know how to make the most out of these models yet. There is so much value in these models, and very little of it has been extracted. But there is a lot of value to extract still. It's just don't sink the ship before taking off. And that's something that a lot of AI companies are doing. They're sinking the ship and not actually taking off into the better world.
It's like Midas, except instead of turning everything into gold, it turns everything into poop from a butt. It's just nothing good coming out of it. I could have even yapped more about the fact that there's like AI YouTube channels, slop channels coming out of the woodwork now. Things like just Documenting Evil, which is a channel that just makes like documentary style videos that are all AI. Like, even the editing looks like it was made in like the CapCut on an iPhone. There's just no thought going into it. All of it is so low
there is AI
effort. And for some
also, I was developing an AI editing
reason,
platform.
people keep doing it. It's lazy, it sucks, and there's going to be more of it before there's less of it. But honestly, I'm just happy I can yap about it and take my side in history before Roko's Basilisk eventually gets created and then tortures me for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, I mean, I think that incorporating algorithms into social media made us create for the algorithms and not for the people. And social media should be social. Like, it shouldn't be algorithm media. So I think long term, Facebook will find their way. It's just AI is still new. We still haven't found out exactly how to use it. We're getting there, but it still takes time. And you're gonna have to burn a lot of money before you make it back. So that's just normal dynamics in a company this big that's trying to do something new. Okay, I mean, this was a pretty good video, I think. I'll like it. Even if I don't want to see more of it, but I'll just like it. Actually, no, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. Okay. I think we got our 2 reactions. I can code a little bit, maybe. Do I want to code? Not really. And do I know what to code? Not really. Do I want to code? Actually, maybe yeah. Maybe yes. I want to code, maybe. What time is it? Yeah, we'll do half an hour coding. Just because, you know. So, I wanna lay down like I did on Sunday. Someday. I remember this on Sunday. Yeah. Someday we gon' set it off. Maybe don't you bet it off. Oh, baby, on a bag of fentanyl, you might think they wrote you off. They gon' have to ring me out. But maybe someday I've been trying to make you love me. But everything I try just keeps you further from me. Once again, I'll go of everything that I know. And nothing hurts anymore. I feel kinda free. We're still the kids we used to be. Yeah, I put my hand on the stove. to see if I still bleed. When nothing hurts anymore, I feel kinda free. We're still kids we used to be. To see if I still bleed. And nothing hurts anymore, I feel kinda free. We're still kids we used to be. I put my hands to you. We're still the kids we used to be. Yeah. Until she first to breathe. Nothing hurts anymore, I feel kinda free. We're still the kids we used to be. Yeah. I put my hands to until she first to leave. I feel kind of free. We're still the kids we used to be. And nothing hurts anymore. Please, and nothing hurts anymore. I feel like the main thing that happened true. So please love me. Do 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 do.
Hai detto bene per lo store online, ma deve essere uno store, il mio mica uno store.
Ma infatti io volevo fare gli store, fra. Cioè adesso ne faccio qualcuno, magari te lo giro così mi dai un'opinione. E niente, quel link lì adesso dobbiamo sistemare. Bene. Bene, tutto bene, tutto bene.